No charter, no problem for Bubba Wallace and 2311 Racing locks himself and his team into the playoffs, silences the doubters, and snaps a 100 race winless streak. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Talking NASCAR. I'm your host, Andrew, and we got episode number 26 on the way. Race recap for the Brickyard 400, where Bubba Wallace ended up taking the victory. We'll look at some top finishers in a moment. We also got my race review rating, whatever you can call it, at the end of the show. But let's go ahead and start with the race winner, Bubba Wallace. Bubba snaps a 100 race winless streak, collects the first win of the season for 2311 Racing, and it's not Tyler Reddick who gets the first win. It is himself, Bubba Wallace. It was a really cool win, really popular win. You could see all the drivers going up to him, congratulating him on track, off the track, on pit road. It was a really cool moment, even being able to share it with his wife and his newborn son. Just really cool moments all around for Bubba Wallace. And to be fair, he had a really good race going on. Led 20 laps. Wasn't the most laps of the day, but still led a good amount of laps. Didn't get any stage wins, but still, Bubba Wallace had a phenomenal race. Outran his teammate, Tyler Reddick, for most of the afternoon. And despite having that late rain delay, having an overtime finish, 2 overtime finishes, I should say, Bubba Wallace still came out on the other side of it and got the victory. His car owner, Denny Hamlin, also shared that victory, kissing the bricks with Bubba Wallace. Finished in third, actually got the Xfinity Series fastest lap, so shout out to Denny Hamlin there. But really cool win for Bubba Wallace. Again, locks himself into the playoffs. We'll take a look at the playoff bubble and the playoff cut line because things have shifted slightly with a new name moving up a couple spots due to that win. But let's go ahead and look at some top finishers. How about Austin Cindric getting a 15th place spot? Used pit strategy to run up front. Even though he blew a tire late, still was able to come home with a 15th place. Still has not gotten Roger Penske a win on the NASCAR Cup side of things. His teammate Ryan Blaney was also up inside the top 10 in 7th. And their other teammate Joey Logano, who led a good amount of laps today, ended up finishing down in 32nd due to a blown tire. Was not able to recover from that. Was leading some laps late, but ended up blowing that tire, fell outside of the lead, and really could not recover. Got caught up in that first overtime restart accident with Zane Smith and Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace's teammate, who also finished towards the back of the field. Chris Buescher finishes inside the top 15 in 14th, very consistent. He's been really solid ever since that Coca-Cola 600 weekend. Good result for Chris there. Same with Chase Elliott in 13th. Again, nothing too crazy, but gets a solid finish. John Hunter Nemechek up in 12th was able to rally and finish up in 12th. His teammate Eric Jones had so much good speed early, but got caught up in an accident, had a loose wheel, had it fall off entering turn 3, hit the wall. Just tough break for Eric Jones. I think he had probably at least a top 5 car. Not really sure if he could really contend for the win, but really good result for Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, and tough day for Eric Jones. 2 Spire Motorsports Chevys making up the 11th and 10th place position. Justin Haley finishes in 11th. Really good result for Haley there. And same with Carson Hocevar, finishing in 10th. Rebound finish. Desperately needed that. So good result for Carson Hocevar. Had some good speed early and late as well. Could have been a contender for the last portion of the race, but still a top 10 finish. Pretty solid for Hocevar. Alex Bowman in 9th. Had another good race here. Led 2 laps, not bad. I mean, got some time out in front. So Bowman in 9th. Christopher Bell in 8th. Had that little controversial spin with Zane Smith. Kind of ran out of town, I would say, down the back straightaway and just hooked Zane Smith. Now, I don't think there will be any penalty from that. I think that Bell maybe wanted to tuck in line behind Zane Smith, or Zane Smith tried to move up. I couldn't really tell from TV, and it was kind of hard to tell from the in-car camera of Bell, but didn't look intentional. He apologized over the radio, but 8th place for Bell. Again, just trying to get more consistent finishes, but this will certainly help. Covered Blaney in 7th. Todd Gilliland up in 6th for Front Row Motorsports. How about that? needed a good finish. Hasn't had really any good finishes this whole season outside of some super speedway races, but a 6th place finish for Front Row Motorsports. Talk about no charter for 2311 Racing. Front Row Motorsports, 6th for Todd Gillen. Zane Smith had a solid day going before he got spun by Christopher Bell, was running up inside the top 10. I guess Front Row Motorsports and 2311 Racing, at least 2 of their cars each, are figuring it out later in the going. Brad Keselowski quietly gets a top 5 finish in that number 6 car for his own RFK team. Good result for Brad Keselowski there. And same for Ryan Preece. Finishes up in 4th. How about that? Used some pit strategy, Ryan Preece, but was able to hold that track position, get on a similar strategy. That rain delay really helped all these teams like Preece, Keselowski, Gillen, Ryan Blaney, who are all in alternate strategies, able to get some good finishes there. Hamlin, just like we mentioned, had to start in 39th after having to go to a backup car after crashing in practice on Saturday. Took them 7 hours to get that backup car completed, and all the interior stuff needed by Denny Hamlin. Still finishes third. Really good result for Denny Hamlin. And then Kyle Larson in 2nd. This was another rebound finish for Kyle Larson. He's been riding a streak of good momentum. Finished in 2nd, started 13th. Good result for Larson. And of course, Bubba Wallace up in 1st after starting in 2nd on the front row. Really good day for Bubba there. I want to mention a couple other names that were not inside the top 15. William Byron finished just outside the top 15 in 16th after starting 6th. Kind of just lost track position, ran out of fuel on the final lap, but Byron had a pretty solid day going, I would say. Got to lead some laps, 40 laps led. Pretty good result for William Byron in 16th. I think if he just, again, finished the race, I think, and put a full race together, William Byron would be definitely in the more conversations as a championship threat like he was earlier in the year. And then same for Chase Briscoe. Finished in 19th, pitted late, trying to get some fresh tires, maybe an advantage, but lost that track position. Finished in 19th after getting 34 laps led, starting on pole. Tough result for Chase Briscoe there. And same for Shane Van Gisbergen. Started up inside the top 15, started in 11th, finished 19th. Looked like he was going to have a pretty solid day. Not the day he ended up wanting, but still a very solid improvement and a solid sign of improvement for Shane Van Gisbergen on the ovals, I would say. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. pointed out that Indianapolis Motor Speedway with its 90-degree turns are pretty similar to a road course, so I guess we shouldn't all be very surprised that Shane Van Gisbergen was able to have one of his better finishes in the Brickyard 400. Some other drivers that had some bad finishes, but really wasn't their own fault. Ross Chastain tried to block Michael McDowell heading into turn 3 on lap 18th with the tires wearing. Michael McDowell wasn't just expecting Chastain to check up so much. Chastain just trying to hold track position, and he gets driven through by Michael McDowell. Not on purpose, it's just wrong place, wrong time. Chastain ended up being the first car out of the race. Same for Austin Dillon, finished in second to last after having some really good speed. Finished inside the top 10 in stage 1, but on that restart, the start stage 2, where there was just a big checkup, was one of many cars to receive damage. I mean, it wasn't that big of an incident. I mean, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. hit the wall and was able to come back out on the track after having some issues and being behind the wall for a little while. Same with Noah Gragson as well. Had some damage from that as well. Also, Ty Dillon, who was also in contention for the in-season challenge. Kyle Busch, AJ Allmendinger. Just some guys that got sidelined because of that restart and the damage suffered by that. I know I talked about Ross Chastain just a second ago, and that also ended the day for Michael McDowell as well, because he would blow a tire later on and suffer a lot of damage and would end up wrecking and getting involved in another accident. So, bad accident all around for multiple parties. I want a quick shout out Jesse Love, the rookie, making his first Brickyard 400 start. Started in 35th for that number 62 Beard Motorsports Chevrolet team, a part-time team mostly known for running the super speedways, but got their shot at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Jesse Love ran all the laps, ended up finishing in 24th. Did get caught up in that accident with Zane Smith. Got him and Joey Logano got a little bit of damage, but wasn't too severe and was still able to finish the race. So shout out to Jesse Love there, getting that experience that he does need. And if he does want to get that full-time Cup Series ride, this is how you got to do it. Run all the laps in the limited starts you may get in years prior with it. So Jesse Love will finish in 24th. And then Josh Berry, I mean, he had some really good speed, used some pit strategy like his Penske teammates of Cindric, Blaney, and Logano, just ended up not being on the right strategy at the end. And I thought Josh Berry could have been a threat for a possible top 5 finish as well. All right, let's move on to look at some standings. Let's start with the regular season points standings, and things have just gotten a lot closer because of Chase Elliott having a subpar run and having a okay finish. That brings his championship points lead to only 4 points above his teammate William Byron, 15 above Kyle Larson, 20 above 4th place Denny Hamlin, 62 above 5th place Christopher Bell, and 71 points over 6th place Tyler Reddick. Despite Tyler Reddick not having a good finish, DNFing out of this race. So that is going to be a telling race. This race is going to be very telling on what will happen over the next couple weeks in regards to the regular season points championship. Now looking up at the playoff cut line, things have moved a little bit. There are only 3 points paying positions left to spare. You have Tyler Reddick up by 138 points, has that stage win from Atlanta. He is most likely very good, but with 5 regular season races left to go, anything can happen. That gap can quickly evaporate just like that. Just like that. So Reddick cannot let off the gas pedal. Alex Bowman as well, 63 points above the cut line. Again, we saw him have a massive points lead, and all of a sudden, after a couple bad finishes, it was just gone like that. And finally, Chris Buescher up by 42 points on his fellow RFK teammate of Ryan Preece. Then you go back to Kyle Busch, who's 81 points out in 18th place right now. Ty Gibbs out by 95 points. Allmendinger out by 124. McDowell out by 129. Nemechek out by 134. Eric Jones out by 147. Hosvar out by 149. Keselowski out by 161. And that's the top 25. And then 26th on back are out by 160 plus. So, I mean, realistically, all those guys I just mentioned, unless over the next 5 races go on absolute tear and Chris Buescher, Bowman, and Reddick just tank, they're all going to have to win their way in, most likely. With Daytona, Watkins Glen, anything can happen. There's a couple of weird races coming up, and next week at Iowa, anything can happen. One last thing before we head to my race review. The in-season challenge came to a, I guess, anticlimactic ending with Ty Gibbs taking the victory, even though he finished in 21st. I mean, he had some good speed. It wasn't the greatest. He didn't have race-winning speed, I would say, but he still finished in 21st, beat Ty Dillon, who was multiple laps down, and many people thought maybe Ty Dillon, with his more wealth of experience compared to Ty Gibbs, would maybe pull out over Ty Gibbs, but apparently that was not the case. The Cinderella story came to an end with Ty Dillon here, and Ty Gibbs gets that $1 million. Now it's time to give my race recap rating, or race review rating, whatever you want to call it here. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's going to be kind of like Pocono, single groove racetrack. Sometimes you'll see guys power around the outside on restarts. You'll have runs off of corners, but they're so hard to get, especially with this next-gen car. The draft is everything, but you can't run behind cars in the corners because of that dirty air. It's tough. It's a track position race. Pit strategy will take a big role in this, and we saw plenty of pit strategy on Sunday yesterday, so it wasn't my favorite race. That rain delay certainly didn't help. It made things a little bit more exciting and brought everybody closer together, and Bubba Wallace was still able to hold off, so that was pretty entertaining. We had some accidents that were maybe avoidable, but I think that they provided another spark to this race. So I'm going to give this race a 55% because you saw a new winner, a feel-good story for Bubba Wallace, I think, added to it. So 55% for me, but let me know down in the comments what you would have rated today's Brickyard 400 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Now, before we go, I would like to talk about TNT and their 5-race coverage of the NASCAR Cup Series. And overall, Atlanta started out kind of rough. I will admit the sound mixing was the only problem I had really with it, but overall they did pretty good besides the sound mixing on race 1, and after that I think they nailed it perfectly. Race 2 at Chicago, though, wasn't much better than Atlanta, but Sonoma, they definitely got it right. So hopefully next year they can kind of continue that same success. I thought Adam Alexander, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Steve Letarte, they all had really good chemistry in the booth. You also had Daniel Trotta, Alan Cavana. You also had Marty Snyder on pit road. I thought were very, very good. Shannon Spake. You had Jamie McMurray. I think they all did very, very well. Broadcasting was not the issue with broadcasters. Camera work was still very solid, and they got the sound mixing right in the end. So I would give TNT a, what would I give them? I give them a B+. I think they aren't as good as Amazon Prime. Definitely not. Amazon Prime was a blessing for all of us, but they are a lot better than Fox. I actually think that their sound mixing is better than NBC. Some people may think I'm crazy for saying that, but I think I do like TNT sound mixing compared to NBC and USA's. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you thought of yesterday's Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Go check out some of the other episodes of this show. They're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, go check out Talking Sports with Miles and Andrew. It's the other show I co-host with my buddy Miles Shield. We just released a 51-minute episode earlier today, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. But I'll be back tomorrow with maybe a couple different episodes, so you'll have to wait and see on those. But that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you in the next episode. See you tomorrow.